Hello, I'm Ethan Woodworth. I'm back again. This is Stoic Sapling podcast. I'm joined with my buddy Teddy Greenlee. Second time on the pod again, and we are at your crib, man. Beautiful house.
Thank you. I'm happy to host. I was happy to be on the first time, and to get invited back, that's a huge honor. Thank you.
Yeah, just since then we went to your lake house. We had a lot of good talks then, a lot of chess. Great game, chess.
Yeah. Good memories.
Yeah, and fire, man. I always love it. I always have it in every one of my podcasts with a candle, and it's back again, but this time a legit fireplace. So I like that, dude.
Keeps you toasty. It's classic. Gotta have the fire pit.
Yeah. You an electronic fire pit guy, or do you like the real wood?
I like the real wood. Coming in smelling like campfire. It's like classic lake house experience.
Agreed. I love smelling the wood, whether it's bonfire in a house. I like it. My grandparents had a wood stove in their basement, and some of my earliest memories come from going there on Christmas Day, and you would just smell and feel their basement, how warm and cozy it was, and that's just like one of my earliest memories, and it's with fire. So.
Yeah, I connect all my lake memories with the smell of fire, campfire.
Yeah.
4th of July, shooting off fireworks.
It's odd how like a smell like that can bring you a load of different places.
It's crazy.
And some smells like some like pizza smells will bring me back to like kindergarten, and like maybe like a Chuck E. Cheese like play date. Others will bring me to my grandparents' basement on Christmas, and it's just like so deeply ingrained in your brain.
I think there's like scientific stuff behind that.
Dude, there definitely is.
Forming memories.
Yeah.
That's interesting stuff.
Some smells relate back to chicks that I've talked to, been by,
They got a certain smell.
They got a certain smell.
I definitely connect with, like, when I walk in someone's house, I'm like, they have a smell. Each family has a smell.
I think everybody always worries that they're the one that has, like, the bad smell.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you think?
I swear to God, you don't have some sort of smell. Yeah. No joke.
That's a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of mild. You don't really.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy.
Yeah.
If I have no smell. No
What about me?
Better than the bad smell.
What about me?
I'd say you have no smell.
Yeah. I just know sometimes my laundry gets so, like, if I had two Tide Pods to it, it'll get overwhelming, and I don't like that. Smelling like complete like laundry and fruit.
Yeah. I feel that.
The worst though is the kids that smell like syrup.
Ooh. That's just like a musty smell. Dude. What's or like the Cheerios. Like I feel like people that smell like Cheerios, or like the smell of Cheerios to me is just like musty.
I would just always remember the syrup because there was at least one like guy or girl in an elementary school class, like 3rd or 4th grade, that smelled like syrup. There always was, and maybe sometimes it was me or my friends, but usually it was some random kid.
Yeah.
And they just smell like syrup.
I mean, I feel you. Working at BAC with all the kids every day.
Yeah, you know that firsthand, man.
Random smells whiffing in your nose.
Yeah, you're a peer for what? How many kids?
Well, I do peer. That's through school. So I have 6 peers through that, and then after school, my job is at BAC, just watching like 30 kids, 40 kids.
Dude, I find that so interesting, man.
Yeah.
Whenever you bring this up, I always get into it because I think like kids' social interactions.
Yeah.
Some of the coolest. You get like the patterns you can bring up from how they're interacting. I mean, coolest thing.
You can definitely see how parenting plays out in these children's interactions in their daily lives. Like just like the minimal interactions you get with your parents, like you can see that reciprocated in their children, and also like you can also tell what type of home life these kids have, like whether they're going home getting spoiled whatever they want, or whether they have like parents that are like listening to them, care about how they feel, actually like enforcing some sort of rules against them.
And you think this class and just seeing this firsthand has for sure given you insight into like how to parent possibly?
I think so.
And eventually,
I think it's like showed me that like you can't go super tough on your kids, but you also need to like a lot of these kids, like they aren't, like respect isn't enforced in them, I feel like nowadays. It's kind of like
internet era.
Their parents are working all day, so they come home, kind of give them what they want, which is like, that's easy to do to kind of get your kids off your ass. But if you want like a good, respectful kid that's like going to be hardworking, I feel like you need to pay more attention to him.
Dude, I just think it's dangerous looking at all the negativity on the internet and being introduced to it at 8, 9 years old. You are introduced to so much negativity on like Twitter, Instagram, and I don't know how I personally, if I were to go back and had that technology that young, were to handle that. Like how my brain would process it.
I was talking to a worker there. She's a mom herself, and I was saying like some of my best memories were like in elementary school, being able to like go outside for like 5 hours and just like play football down at the Kellers all day, and then like come home all sweaty, take a shower, and like that's it. Like all I was doing is being outside, playing with friends, playing Legos. I'm like, nowadays kids are so eager to like hop on their iPad and just like zone out doing whatever right in their mind. I think that's easy to do. I mean, we can even do it with Xbox or whatnot, but like it's crazy. Like those were some of my best memories, and to think that like a lot of kids nowadays would rather have electronics than those is kind of like almost sad.
That directly ties into kind of my 7th and 8th grade experience where we didn't have cars yet. I think cars has changed a lot of the game socially, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
But we would bike everywhere. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I'm glad we moved past it.
Biking anymore as
well. No.
We were biking and playing Pokemon Go and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I remember, it was from. I have one specific story. It was from some period in July. I was with Preston Gadd, a few others. We would get up at probably 8.
Yeah. Meet
up at 9. And we would hang out on our bikes, screwing around, going to like Starkey Park, Brotree, stuff like that. And Zionsville people know, Zionsville kids know. The Billy, the back of Bubs, there's a creek with like a rope swing. And we'd be out all day. And I was tan as a mofo. Like I was dark. Yeah. And one specific day or week, I remember I didn't have a shirt on 5 straight days until I walked into a Dairy Queen. They made me put a shirt on. 5 straight days. I was bumming around without a shirt on.
It's a shame kids aren't having that these days.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the same thing. Shout out Stonegate Hose.
Stonegate Hose.
We'd be going to our the wood. It was a little creek back there in our neighborhood. Go down. We'd try to build a fortress out of like wood, collect a bunch of stuff. Then like we'd go ride our bikes to Flame Burger.
Flame Burger, okay.
Dude, Keller though, like back in the day, we'd be playing like 6 hours of just tackle football in his yard.
It's the best. Get aggressive, rough, a lot of arguments.
Yeah, grass stains all over.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember like there's one day we went home like both crying, like his mom banned us from hanging out for a week. This was like 2nd grade. I remember like I think he hit Charlie. It was like a dirty hit, and I was like, you know, I'm the older brother. Nowadays I could never stand up to Keller, but I went in, hit him. Then I don't know. I think I hit the wind out of myself. But like we both fall down. We're both crying. Get up. Then I see Mrs. Keller, and she's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna be able to hang out for a little bit."
Little mutual band.
She texted my mom. She said it. I thought it was respectful. Like Teddy like was defending his brother. Yeah. But
those are the best.
The best memories.
Mine go back to again that like 7th and 8th grade period, and basketball was. Did we play pickup? That's kind of why I got so tan and I was in good shape. Is because
you guys had like Mulberry.
Dude, we would play at Mulberry for hours. It would be like middle of July, 95 out, and we're just sweating balls, getting after it on the court. Like people are getting sick. But that's just what was some of my favorite stuff. Was those. I talked about it with Brendan on the podcast, and even having a kind of video clip of me punting the ball after I lost one time. Yeah. And it was serious, man. I got pissed.
The Commons, we were playing pickup like every Friday. I mean, unfortunately, I got cut from the 8th grade basketball team. It's pretty rough. But 7th grade, after practice, we'd be going playing pickup, spend the night at Guider's house.
Guider's house?
Yeah.
You go back after and just, that was the vibe.
Yeah, Fortnite. Go bush camp, watch E-Daddy bush camp, see if you could catch a Fortnite dub. You know, 0 kill wins.
Yeah. I just think some kids are missing that now. It sounds like just too busy on the interwebs, but I bet there's still some warriors out there that are still doing the biking, still doing the stuff like that, and I would just advocate to all like kids and especially parents, just let your kid go outside, let him do whatever on his bike. I didn't really have that much restriction on my bike. Yeah. I mean, my parents made sure I was safe, but like I was just out on my own, doing whatever I wanted, messing around. I got into some trouble, but it wasn't anything serious. Just some minor, what should I call them, infractions of the law. Yeah. But it was worth it. I learned a lot.
Yeah, I think it's worth having. I think parents need to not be so eager to give their child a phone. You know, I didn't get one until like 5th or 6th grade, and even that, it was pretty like, I didn't have a lot of social media. It's more like communication.
Dude, my parents got me a flip phone.
Like, I'm thinking like, dude, if you're like 10 years old having like TikTok or Instagram, dude, you're just exposed to literally anything on the internet. Like, your child could see literally anything at like 10 years old.
It's kind of the same thing as Safari or Google Chrome, though. Yeah. Like, you could search anything you want to search. I think TikTok, you don't even, like, you'll just stumble across it by just flipping your finger.
I mean, even if I had Safari at a young age, like, I didn't really know what that stuff was. So I couldn't be looking up for it. Yeah. Like, maybe I'd look up, like, hot girl or something, but, like, I wasn't, like, looking up the super vulgar stuff because, like, you don't really know what that means. But, like, you could hop on TikTok and find, in a matter of, like, 5 minutes, just, like, as a 10-year-old, you'd be discovering stuff you've never heard about.
Yeah. Do you think that, kind of like diving into these social things about, like, kids and their patterns and being in peer class, are you going to have any sort of, like, social job going forward? Because I know I might going forward.
Social job? I don't know if necessarily, like, my job or career will deal in, like, social work and stuff like that, but definitely, like, I definitely want to impact, like, the social aspect, whether that's volunteering or, like, donating money, donating time. I want to do something, but probably not a career.
Yeah, I think I want to be an entrepreneur at some point. I think my entrepreneurial job would have to be something to do with, like, socially connecting people or bringing people together, helping people, helping communities. Yeah. I don't think I could just have, like, a CEO job of, like, wall construction or, like, cement or something like that. I don't think that'd cut it for me. I wouldn't be very interested in that.
Yeah, I think from the entrepreneurial aspect, like, I mean, perfect plan would be, like, you own a company, you got enough that you can kind of do, like, a non-profit on the side. That would be probably my ultimate goal. Yeah. But you gotta make a lot of money for that.
You were saying, who you saying that does non-profit stuff? And was it your mom?
My uncle.
Uncle, okay.
So that's what he did. Like, he sold his company now, but he started non-profits.
I honestly bet he probably, like, that gives him the most joy, probably. Waking up every day, knowing that he's, like, working and helping other people.
I mean, I know we've gone on a lot of, like, builds to them. Like, he does a lot of those builds to Mexico. Okay. He sponsors a lot of those, and his company did. So we made a lot of memories there, and had a lot of, like, insightful, meaningful work there.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about my jiu-jitsu tournament, bro.
Yeah, I want to hear about it. How do you go?
Me and Teddy specifically saved this one for the podcast. I didn't tell him when I walked in. But I had a jiu-jitsu tournament today. Woke up at 8, got there, and the nerves are flowing.
Yeah?
They're flowing.
The nerves are flowing? Normally, you're not a nervous guy.
No, I mean, it was good nervous. It definitely wasn't over the threshold. But I had people were watching. It was pretty busy. My teammates were watching, coach was watching, but I won my first 2 fights.
That's good.
First one was off of a submission. I gave him a Kimura. Yeah, which off of, like, I pretty much twisted his arm in an awkward way. Yeah. And tapped out.
Well, I mean, I watch Charlie's wrestling, so I certainly know that, like, winning off points is a lot different than submission.
Yeah. Yeah, submission's a lot more fun, I can tell you that, because if you just ended it, you're like, yes.
Yeah, you gotta put in the work.
So that was my first fight. Second fight was I won points. Yeah. And my third fight I actually lost, unfortunately. Yeah. I was kind of being an idiot. I have, like, the videos of it, and I just wasn't thinking. But I learned a lot today, and I'm just really glad I did it. And I'm really glad I'm seeing the bounds I want to see in jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And I think that it's kind of a message to anyone. Like, I didn't think I could ever compete in a tournament like this. Yeah. But I did it, and I didn't even do that bad. So
you're accomplishing those noble goals you talked about on the first podcast.
Yeah, man, I'm making moves. It's been 4 months. And I think the best feeling today was looking behind me while I was rolling and seeing my coach, man.
Yeah.
And I love that guy. His name's James. He's a black belt. And he's awesome. And just knowing that you have somebody in your corner watching you and like fully supporting you, and he has such a knowledge of the game that he can yell out whatever he wants to help you, was just fucking awesome.
It's nice to have that guy in your corner.
Yes, dude. And it like gives me chills thinking about like that guy was in my corner, man. Like he was helping me. Like he's that much of a baller that you just it like you're honored to have him in your corner, bro.
Yeah.
And I've never had that feeling, and I thanked him after I left, and I'm still thanking him now because he's just such an awesome dude, and I can't imagine competing in jiu-jitsu without him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of you going out there, getting it done.
Yeah.
I mean, especially it's all about learning. You're pretty new to the jiu-jitsu, the whole realm of it. Like, I mean, you're talking about dudes in those tournaments. Charlie's talking about dudes with years and years of experience competing in those. And is it regulated by weight class?
Weight class and age. I did kids. The kids is in 16, 17-year-olds and adults.
Yeah.
I competed in both.
That's fun.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with it now.
Yeah. What were your biggest takeaways?
My biggest takeaways was that I like competing in something that's actually grounded in like rules. Like obviously I haven't been doing anything 'cause after I quit basketball, got cut, whatever you want to say. I haven't done anything that's like competing with like other people. And I did my marathon, that was competing with myself. But this is the first time I've like actually competed in like a competition. And that was just awesome. And I've grown a lot from there. Like when I lost my match, I knew I grew as a person the last few years. It's like I didn't even give a shit that I lost. Like I had a smile on my face. I shook the guy's hand like I was like, dude, nice job. Like you kicked my ass.
Yeah.
Like this is awesome. Like I learned a ton from that fight. I'm gonna like look at that video 1,000 times, see what I did wrong, and the next time I fight you, I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And that's why I'm so into it, and it's so fun for me is kind of that cycle when I'm back in it. I'm back competing, and I love it.
I think it's important to like inspire that competitive spirit. Because I think a lot of people lose it after you kind of stop playing sports in like middle school or high school. It's kind of hard to find that. But you gotta find something that you're eager about and go compete.
Yeah. And actually, I don't want to say his name because I don't know if he would appreciate me like making this public, but one of our buddies, just quit baseball.
Yeah.
And I know he's a competitive ass person.
Yeah.
And I've competed with this guy my whole life. And we've had 2K battles, basketball battles, like we've always been competitors. Yeah. And I know he's gonna go find his competition.
Because he makes everything a competition. He makes little things a competition.
Yeah, and
but it's fun.
He's a winner.
Fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I appreciate that his individuality of the decision he made. It's a bold decision. Because I know a lot of kids think about quitting their sport because they don't even enjoy it that much, but parents and coaches pressure them to play it, and they're not even following their own path. It's their coaches or parents' path. But this person decided, it's my life. I'm going to take my life in whatever direction I want. I respect that big time. You, brother, you got to pick up jiu-jitsu.
I got to pick up jiu-jitsu. I like tumbling with Charlie, but it's a lot harder than what people give credit to. Like, we'll be doing, like, quote-unquote actual wrestling by, like, his standards of, like, what they're doing. I think he does like folk style. I got this explained by Louis Mariacker. I can't remember. I think he does folk style at the high school, but then he also does freestyle. Freestyle and Greco, and there's. So, I don't know what that means. Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, we were tumbling for like 3 minutes because that's what he does at high school, and I'm like gassed. I'm like gassed afterwards. Like we do 2 3-minute rounds afterwards, and I got like rug burns all over. And I'm like out of breath. I'm like, dude, if I had to go like the full 9 yards in front of fans while they're cheering and yelling, that's tiring, dude. I don't know how some kids do it. And on top of it, some kids are eating the day before because they're so need to make weight.
No energy, man.
Exactly.
That's in my rules today. Like, I'm great on stamina. Like, I just ran a marathon. My cardiovascular endurance is actually really good. I weight train. The way I weight train, I kind of do it for endurance. But I was so amped today and so on edge. I was moving way too quick. But in the rounds, it's a yes. Burn. I was dying, dude. Yeah. Like we were like, it was 4-minute rounds. And I was at like minute 3 and I'm sweating balls. And it's like,
it's a different type of burn, dude.
Yeah, I was just like so tensed up. And I think that's part of my issue is I got to like get my breathing down.
Yeah.
Calm down during the fight and not just like be a spaz. I was way too spazzy. Yeah. I got to cool down.
Yeah, I mean, I think breath work plays a lot into like how you react and deal with situations. If you can calm yourself down through breath work, like that will completely affect how you face something or like handle something. I mean, but it's definitely a different type of burn getting on the mats. Cause I can go run and like I'm not getting tired running.
Yeah.
But like I go wrestle and it's like immediately just like pouring sweat. Like you just start pouring sweat.
Yeah.
And you're just like tired.
And you don't even know what to do. It's just like you're overwhelmed by it.
You got the adrenaline pumping.
Yeah. Also, what I saw today was a lot of chicks on the younger divisions roll with the dudes.
Yeah.
And the chicks will beat the dudes. And the dudes, every time like a little kid, 9, 10 years old, loses to a chick, what do you think is the first thing they do?
Cry.
They look at their dad, start bawling their eyes out, and walk to him like the most ashamed person
Dude,
to ever live.
I can definitely doing my peer every day, seeing like the kids interact, like the elementary school kids, like they're so avid on like girls have cooties, like I don't want to mess with them, like girls versus boys, like boys always beat up on the girls, like
until they kick your ass.
And then you get on the mat and the girl kicks your ass.
Because you're kind of like the same strength at that age. Like, guys haven't developed like the muscles and everything to just like.
Exactly. Dude, it's funny seeing those like little kids wrestle though.
Yeah, dude. I can't imagine starting that young. And moving up, that you're going to be a assassin
beasts,
by the time you get 16, 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with how good Charlie's gotten, like, the last 2 years that he's been wrestling.
Yeah.
But, like, you're talking about the kids that he's wrestling that are winning conference have wrestled since, like, kindergarten. And the fact that he's, like, getting, like, second place in those tournaments.
It's impressive.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I know he doesn't give himself much credit, but he's put in the work.
I thought about this. I thought about it for a while. I think wrestling is, I don't want to overstep this, the toughest mental sport in high school you can choose. Easily. I think they have the toughest conditioning. They have to manipulate their bodies in ways you don't have to in other sports. They're fighting other people, which I think is physically more exhausting than other things you'll do.
Yeah.
And I just think the day in, day out grind for wrestling, especially varsity wrestling, it's the toughest thing you'll do in high school.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's that stamina combined with strength. So, you're waking up and having to go run 6 miles for your stamina aspect, and then after school, they're making you go do weightlifting and tumble on the mats for the next 3 hours so you're ready for your match.
And then they start putting you in a hot room, and you have to do rounds with a bunch of other sweaty dudes. Oh, we had a jiu-jitsu, it's a hot room, and they'll crank up the heat. And the heat will just be pumping. And we rolled for 45 minutes, so I had like 8, 9 rounds. Afterwards, the mat's like a light blue usually. The mat was a dark blue. And it was literally a slip and slide. Like, I could have just taken off and slid on the thing, and like sweat would have gotten all over me.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the only thing I don't know if I'm ready for. I'm fine being sweaty, but I don't like other people's sweat on me.
Like, this was one of those things where I had people that were getting on top of me.
Yeah.
And their sweat was falling in my mouth. Like I'm like protecting my face, but like I'm kind of like this. And their sweat was like getting on my tongue and eyes.
Jeez.
It's
intense.
No other sport you're getting that character development besides like wrestling. You're not doing that.
Up in your face, man.
You're not eating somebody else's sweat.
You're not. Respect to the wrestlers. Dude, going back to that breath work though, like,
We've talked about that.
Yeah. Have you researched like that Wim Hof stuff at all?
No, that's what you were talking to me about.
Yeah.
Explain this to me.
I mean, I haven't done much research myself, so I can't like give that much credit.
Research.
I tried the method the one time, like his, I don't know what you call it, relaxation method. It's kind of almost like you're inhaling more oxygen than you're exhaling. You're doing that, but then you're doing like maybe like a 2-minute hold. So you're doing that for like a minute, but you're doing this like, but it builds you up. So you can, in the end, like, I was holding my breath for 3 minutes.
Cap.
I swear to God. we can do it after this.
Oh, I want to see
this.
this.
It's interesting stuff.
You held your breath for 3 minutes.
Yeah, so what I watched, the first video I watched was the YouTube channel Yes Theory. They went out to, like, I think Norway is where this dude's from. And he's living out in the mountains. And every morning he goes out and does, like, an ice bath. And, like, it's, like, really, like, you got to sit there and just embrace the cold and, like, numb it out. And it's all about connecting your mind and your breath together. So you're overcoming these, like, environmental factors. And so he took this group of just, like, these YouTubers who like going out and doing crazy stuff. And so they're like, we want to come and, like, learn your method. And we're going to be there, like, I think it was a week. So they sat down, like, first day they try the ice bath. And, like, they can barely stand it or whatnot. They go up, start doing some breath work. And, like, I don't know what's happening, but there's, like, people, like, hallucinating and stuff like this from, like, all these different things they were doing.
I heard that you can reach psychedelic states from this. That's
Yeah.
what Rogan was just talking about on one of his podcasts. Like, people reach a psychedelic state from just, like, breathing and getting, like, in, like, a meditative state.
So there was, like, I think one woman had, like, she was, like, connecting back to, like, childhood traumas and, like, childhood memories and, like, almost, like, releasing that. And by the end of the week, like, they had gone in and they, like, stayed 5 minutes in, like, these freezing water that's, like, almost frozen over and, like, sub-zero temperatures, like, full blizzard outside, just, like, embracing it. And then they ended up in only, like, socks and underwear. They ended up trekking, like, an entire mountain and just in, like, full blizzard.
Oh my! All stemming from, like, breathing exercises, getting, like,
focusing on, like,
breath work, getting your mind and body connected. That is so deep. I feel like that's more and more true the more I try to meditate and connect with my body and clear my mind before I go to bed. But that sounds like a whole different level. Like, that sounds drug-induced. It doesn't sound like something you can achieve at a sober state.
Yeah, I mean, like, you would think that, like, literally in these conditions, most people would have, like, hypothermia. Like, they would probably be dying. And these people are trekking a mountain after learning a method, like, a week ago. Or just focusing on their mind and their breath.
And what's this called? This is Wim Hof?
So, yeah, so it's a dude named Wim Hof. I think he lives out in Norway. And he has a YouTube channel and, like, all this stuff's free. Because he's like, I just want to, like, teach the world this stuff. But he has, like, all these different world records for, like, crazy times, like, spinning, like, freezing water, like, spinning ice, because he just can, like, control his body so well.
Dang. Like, that's just so powerful to me. And even, dude, Norway just sounds like some sort of, like, secret, elusive, like, country.
Dude, they got it, like, figured out there. I swear.
What is Norway? Like it sounds super
Norway,
sick.
Finland, like, all those countries, it just sounds like everyone there just lives, like, lives in bliss.
Yeah.
Just, like, gets whatever they want and can go ski all day.
That's the same thing I go to when I think of, like, Switzerland, Norway. I think of just, like, awesomeness. Yeah. And just being free. Kind of like Colorado.
Every article I see is, like, just, like, people saying how good life out there
is. New study finds Switzerland people are the happiest in the world. Like, I'll see some crap like that.
They only have, like, a 4-day work week or whatever. I'm like, shit, maybe I need to move out there.
Sign me up. That reminds me of, like, seasonal depression and the winters for some people in Indiana, Canada, Michigan, the northern areas. It's bad because I just watched this vitamin D documentary that I was talking to you about.
Yeah.
And it kind of was showing how vitamin D and the sun, obviously what you reap from it, it ignites the same parts of the brain that happen when you take opioids, like oxycodone and stuff like that. And that connection just shows me a lot in the vital importance of sun and getting outside.
Gotta get out there. I mean, my mom, like, a couple of years ago when, like, we were having those blizzards and, like, everything, and you couldn't go out, and, like, it was just pretty much gray days. I mean, in the winter, she has a little blue light machine that she'll just, like, sit in front of for, like, 10 minutes. And it's kind of just, like, artificial, like, UVs that are supposed to, like, trick the mind into, like...
But it's not tricking, though, because it's real, you know? Like, she's actually getting a chemical change in her brain from, like, reaping that vitamin D.
People swear it makes them happier when they do it.
Yeah.
I just watched a dude on YouTube who, like, every morning he goes out for 3 minutes in, like, freezing ice water and says, like, it makes him super happy. And, like, I was researching, same thing, like, apparently it boosts your serotonin levels to, like, the same extent that, like, taking cocaine does. But, like, the effects, like, linger longer and you don't have, like, the downside of it or, like, the come down from it.
Like, you would just go in that ice bath.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm that much of a badass that I can just, like, get out.
The thing is, though...
like a tin container and just sit out there.
I think you'd have to just... take it step by step, like any other thing you implement. You can't you can't do 10 minutes, obviously.
Yeah, he said he started with cold showers.
Yeah.
He'd start, like, just a mediocre shower, and the last, like, 2 minutes would be, like, cold, and slowly, like, go longer and longer. Then he was, like, just full ice baths outside.
I gotta start doing it. I don't need to start doing it, but I feel like I gotta try it, at least, implementing that. It's just so tough, because the cold sucks.
Yeah, the cold sucks.
Do you do it all in the shower?
I'm a hot showers guy all the way. Like, I mean,
I have it
steaming up every time I get in. Like, the shower window's all foggy. So
it's one of those things, though. If, like, there's continual the Wim Hof, different, like, vitamin D type stuff, that doesn't relate to that, but it's kind of like just maximizing your brain power from these different other, like, stimulants. Like, shower time, maybe I could turn it into, like, a mental time.
Yeah.
And just, like, bettering myself instead of kind of just zoning out with the hot water.
Yeah, that 10 minutes, like, before school in the morning, just, like, last 3 minutes, like, freeze it out, get ready for the day.
Yeah. And even instead of maybe at night eating a donut, I meditate for longer.
Yeah.
And doing something else.
I mean, I think that, like, definitely for kids who have trouble sleeping.
I've been having trouble sleeping.
Just, like, setting your phone down and, like, really connecting with your body through, like, breath work. I know that sounds cheesy.
But dude, like, you just showed, like, the Wim Hof thing.
Like, dude. I swear, there can be days, like, I'm, like, not ready for bed, and I just go up, sit in my bed 5 minutes, take some deep breaths, like, really connect, like, need to relax my toes, need to relax my feet, need to relax my thighs. Like, slowly move up my body, kind of, like, with each, like, deep breath, like, slowly releasing, like, tension.
Yeah.
It's like, by the end of it, I'm just ready to pass out.
Yeah. I've been trying to tell my sister to do some of those things because she's been having bad sleep. And I've suggested limitless things, but none of them really seem to work. She's been picking up books.
Yeah.
She's been trying to, like, breathe outside instead of just doing it inside. I don't know if the cold would, like, impact that, but I suggested that. I don't know. And I even suggested maybe, like, some CBD.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I've heard that maybe that can help sleep.
I mean, my dog is taking CBD, and she seems a lot chiller now, so maybe it works.
I don't even know what is exactly, like, CBD.
I have no clue, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's just, like, part of marijuana that doesn't get you high, but has kind of, like, those relaxing factors.
Yeah.
Relief. Kind of, like, supposed to help with stress.
Yeah.
Kind of, like, body tenses.
I mean, obviously it's derived from marijuana in some sense, but is there any, like, there's no THC in it?
No.
Right? Okay. But what accounts for, like, the body high? Like, the relaxing?
I think it's, like, the CBD particle, or, like, whatever that is. Like, how your body breaks down THC to kind of, like, give you that, like, mind high and kind of, like, change your perception.
Okay.
I think it kind of does the same thing with those, like, CBD molecules.
Yeah, I wish I could, like, talk scientific stuff on this podcast so bad. I just knew, like, all this, like, biology, chemistry, physics, I could just, like, all wrap in one. I mean, that's why I think the science route's so cool, is because, like, just cool.
I mean, because then you can actually, I mean, you don't want to sound like a know-it-all, but then you can actually, like, know what you're talking about. I feel like a lot of stuff I don't really talk about stuff unless I kind of like have a general basis or understanding behind it. But there's so many processes that like right now I'm talking about like Wim Hof and like all these other things. I don't know the actual like scientific factors or biological elements behind it.
See, and that's what I think society struggles with a lot, and that's what I struggle with a lot, is like I'll form a basis on something without even having the proper knowledge to assess it. And even taking that idea of getting the proper knowledge before assessing something to friendships and relationships.
Yeah.
And you'll just judge somebody without even having like knowing much about them.
Yeah.
And I just think that just kind of goes back to just stupidity and arrogance. Dude, and just your own ego. I do that a lot.
One of his tweets today. It was talking about high schoolers. And he's like, high schoolers just think everyone's an NPC until they actually know. And I feel like that's true.
No, it's facts. I was watching, it's kind of the same idea. It was Rogan, Jordan Peterson. And they were saying how online they have so many haters. And obviously people are like ripping on them, saying whatever they want on social media. But when they meet them in person, all their conversations are almost always positive.
Yeah.
Always.
I mean, nowadays with social media, it makes it so easy. You can go out and send a hateful tweet, and you're never going to have to face backlash or consequences for it. It's given a lot of people, it's made a lot of people's ego too big, you know? Yeah. I think that's what you see is a lot of people will come out on the internet and be talking crazy, talking bold, and then they get faced in real life. And it's like, holy shit, I'm not like that. Mm-mm. Then don't act like it on social media.
Yeah. That's, in my life alone, my conversations with people that I haven't met are usually always positive. Like, people are being nice. People aren't trying to, maybe someone's egotistical, trying to prove something. I don't know. Usually that comes with the younger people, immature folk, whatever. But, people our age and older, especially older, you think they're going to be, against you because they have age on you and they're, more wise or whatever. But they're always chill. And they're always down to talk. They're always down to be open to conversation.
Yeah. I think, to some extent, older people are definitely, once you start getting in your 40s, I feel like people still, older generations still kind of have those ideas of age. But I think definitely, nowadays, you'll see it in, the entrepreneurial world, or, when I was growing up, the sneaker world.
Yeah.
Reselling, there's a lot of 20 and 30-year-olds who are you know what? I had a lot of shit that went wrong growing up, but I learned a lot from it, and I want to help a lot of other kids.
And that's the best.
That's special.
Yeah. That's I feel like that's how my life's kind of going to go. It's going to be a redemption thing, and eventually I'm going to be to the point where, I'm an entrepreneur, and I want to give back, and I want to help others, and be kind of that way. I've messed up so many times in this way, but I want to make sure the younger generation doesn't screw this up like I did, and just making it a better place with something social like that. Yeah. I think college kids mostly are pretty chill and open. When I went to Purdue, most of them were probably drunk. Maybe that's a social drug, but from what I was communicating with people were pretty open. They were down to talk.
I think college is kind of your first experience in the world where your ideals aren't necessarily being guided or persuaded by your parents. It's you're there for the first time, and it's only you. It's only your opinions, and you're getting to know everyone. Everyone's in the same boat as you. They don't know that many people, and you're all in a vulnerable position. And it's kind of you know what? I can put all that pettiness from high school aside and kind of get to know people that are different from me.
I ask this every single podcast.
Yeah.
Music, book, TV show, movie suggestions.
Yeah, well, I feel like
we have one together.
I have to promote is Snowden.
Yeah,
we watched that together last weekend. I feel like everyone I suggested to finds it interesting as fuck.
It is.
When you watch that shit, dude, it's kind of scary, but you need to go watch it. Anyone who hasn't gone watch it, the premise of it is basically the balance that the U.S. government has with your personal information and all your online presence and cameras and everything.
Dude, it freaks me out thinking about it. Even you saying that right now freaks me out.
But you have to go watch it. It is definitely a mind fuck.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway was just I don't think I want a job for the U.S. government, like a job in like working for them.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem appealing after that movie.
I mean, there's definitely some sketchy stuff going on, you know.
Yeah.
Makes you question. But I think it's interesting because it can also like help you to make you want to hold your government accountable or responsible. I mean,
yep.
I don't know if there's necessarily much we can do.
But because it's that leadership hierarchy. And the hierarchies, there's parts of it that are corrupted.
But it definitely starts that conversation, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it also, like, leads to that question of, like, you want so much security, but you also have to give up certain privileges for that security. And, like, how much are you willing to give up?
Yeah,
so
it's a debate. Pull and push. Like, there's no one knows the correct balance. Yeah. It's a tough argument.
Everyone has their own unique opinion on it, you know? Some people are fine giving up every little bit of information, and they're like, you know what, I don't do anything wrong. I'm a clean slate, you can get anything on me. And there's other people, you know what, I'm not doing anything wrong, but I don't need someone to be able to go look on my Mac computer camera anytime they want.
And I think for most people, these private companies like your Twitters, Instagram, Snapchats, blah, 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 when you sign that terms of service, when you click the button, you gave away your rights, you know? Like, that's how I kind of see it as, like, they can do what they want. It's their app. But again, it's like, do they have the right to do that? Do they?
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a right, but it's kind of that contract that you've essentially entered with social media. Using any platform, you're going to be selling your information, and that's kind of, like, known. I mean, even, like, signing up for, like, little subscriptions, like, oh, you like Adidas and you want to get emails from them to get promo codes and stuff like that. Well, Adidas is going to go sell your email that they're sending emails to, and you're going to get another 5 additional emails every day from some spam companies that have your email and are also trying to sell your information.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's everywhere. I don't know how you can necessarily stop it. It's kind of, I limit it more with, like, I've created multiple emails and kind of like, you know what, I like getting emails from Adidas, but they come to the spam account I kind of have versus, like, more personal stuff.
Got it.
Kind of limiting your presence online.
Yeah. See, and I kind of relate this side of privacy to the more, like, what you see in the media with Twitter specifically, like limiting, like, do they have the right to limit freedom of speech?
Yeah.
And what do you think about them kind of, like, filtering out some stuff?
I mean,
and picking and choosing kind of who speaks, who doesn't.
I mean, it's definitely, like, controversial, but at the end of the day, they do have, like, pretty credible, like, they have AP and Rutgers that are running their kind of fact checking. I think they've definitely, like, over politicized their issues. It should have been more of, like, fact checking basis, and kind of, like, you'll see those people that get suspended off Twitter, and they're like, it says that I got fact-checked and I'm doing this, but then they won't give me the certain tweet or whatnot. And it's kind of like creating that gray area. I think with how politicized everything is, like, you need to be very clear when you do it, and I feel like a lot of their intentions haven't been clear.
Yeah.
Like, if it is truly for fact-checking and limiting, like, the spread of fake news, like, I'm all for that. But it's also, like, you can't just, like, take down anyone that has different opinions, because I feel like that's what made Twitter special for a while, is that it was just people of all sorts of calibers kind of coming together, and it was kind of always toxic. Yeah. And that was kind of what Twitter was like, it was toxic because there was both sides.
I mean, it's still pretty toxic.
It's still pretty toxic. But, I mean, I think a lot of people try to blow up the amount of, like, how much they're limiting. Yeah. I think it's definitely a debate to be had. I can't speak on it that much because I don't look into that much of, like, what Twitter and like Facebook limits. Yeah.
Just me personally, with just, like, freedom of speech in general, it's a tough draw, but it even goes back in our AP Gov class. I'll explain the scenario. It said, like, don't share opinions that are, like, unjust and absurd, was pretty much the comment. But, like, what qualifies an opinion as absurd? Like, to some people, me saying that I like dogs over cats is absurd. Yeah. So you could kind of shun me for thinking that. And that was one of the rules we wrote out for our AP Gov discussions is like, don't share something that's absurd or like crazy. I mean, obviously they were more or less talking about like, to most people, they were probably talking about like glorifying the Nazis. That's probably an absurd way of viewing things. But some people may think that that's not that absurd. What is absurd is being a Christian.
Yeah.
So those kind of like blanket statements that we had in AP Gov just kind of scare me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I fully agree with those, like, you're not allowed to say absurd statements type statements. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely, like, all for, like, freedom of speech. Like, especially, like, I think that's what's made America, like, the melting pot and kind of, like, the foothold for, like, innovation is that, like, people have had absurd and crazy ideas. And, like, sometimes those need to be heard and sometimes those don't. But I think there's also, like, an extent to, like, how absurd, you know? I think there's a lot of people nowadays that will come out on the internet and say, like, crazy stuff just because they'll know it will get a bunch of views. Whether there's, like, a lot of, like, facts behind it or not. And that's where I think it gets dicey is, like, I'm all for having, like, controversy and, like, presenting, like, out there ideas, but it's, like, when you're going down to, like, tear down people's life to try to, like, create a false narrative to, like, get more views or whatnot, it's kind of, like, crazy.
Yeah. And the thing is, some of those craziest ideas are the ones that take over, take control. Like, it's always every idea that takes over starts out as, dude, that's crazy. That's not going to work. And then 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 200 years later, look at what happens. Yeah. And I think it's just kind of like a cycle. I don't think that's going away. But to see it kind of firsthand and see some of these ideas being thrown out that I qualify as absurd, it worries me that some of these will be implemented in 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like, it'll definitely be interesting to see where we go in terms of, like, I don't know, what people... I feel like there's kind of, like, this woke trend, which I think is good, but there's also, like, extent that, like, some people go too far. I think that, like...
No, I agree completely. I just think the extent is pretty far sometimes. Like, some of these woke people, like, it's destructive.
As much as, like, the woke people want to be heard, they also have to be able to hear the other side. Like, I'm all for, like, pushing, like, social issues and everything, but you also have to see, like, the opinions of the other sides and hear the opinions of other sides. And, like, because there's certain people, no matter how you talk to them, no matter how you present it to them, they have a stronghold and foothold in their notions and their beliefs. And you don't have to necessarily agree with them, but I think we've got to, like, a position where people, like, don't want to respect each other for their beliefs, and I think that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Because I think it's always great to have different ideas, but you have to be able to, like, portray those respectfully and present those respectfully.
And this also ties back into knowing what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And kind of getting it down to a science. And I think a lot of people that speak, they don't know. And I for one of them, that's why I don't really speak. It's because I don't know much about economics. I don't know much about just how money moves. I don't know much about socioeconomics.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a grasp on these disciplines, so it's tough for me to really form opinions on them. And I think a lot of people just want to have that opinion, even though they should probably maybe go take a course, even watch, like, some YouTube videos. But instead, all they know is BLM, for example. Maybe that's all they know. That's all that comes out of their mouth. And that's their baseline knowledge of how I'm going to change the world. But instead, they should maybe focus on specific topics and specific issues and maybe go out the education system. But I just think there should be more nuance in some of these ideas, and on both sides, on all sides. Every person needs this nuance.
Yeah, I think I agree with you definitely. Because that's a lot about, like, getting the full picture, and a lot of people aren't getting the full picture.
No.
Like, they kind of come to a conclusion first, and then they let their research and finding facts kind of, like, just enforce that conclusion, rather than taking research and facts and then forming a conclusion off those facts. that
No, that's a very valid point, because you can construct any conclusion and just drag in any source you want to support it. But you really got to look at the other side, the other opposing arguments and facts, and then decide.
Yeah.
So, tough end of the stick, but I would say overall, just kind of advocating education first. Advocating an open mind.
Definitely.
And looking into things before just, woke.
Yeah, I think going back to education, it's also like, we were talking about this at the lake. I feel like there's so much that's missed in education nowadays. Like, compared to what you get taught, compared to what you need in the real world, I feel like there's a big lack between those two. And I think there's so much more that should be taught in high school, like paying taxes, being able to get a job, how to cash a paycheck, simple things like those. You get in the real world, a lot of kids don't know that, or they don't understand how systems we have in place affects institutions that are around today.
Yeah, and that just kind of goes to a generalized belief that I have of education is everything.
Yeah.
And it really is the cornerstone of a civilization, because the younger generations, they're going to be the ones that decide the future. So you better make sure they know what they're doing, and you better put that emphasis on them. Yeah. All right, dude. Any other? You said that this all came from a Stone documentary. That conversation. So government, man. That we can go on for days about government.
Question your government, guys.
Question the government. Question everything. Question everything, man.
Exactly.
I would say that's a big takeaway.
Question everything.
Yeah. Any other music, TV shows?
I could go on and talk about anything for however long we want.
One fire artist.
Everyone who knows me knows I'm addicted to The Weeknd.
I was going to say the Future, man. Or Future.
Future's number 2. But
okay.
At heart, I'm a Weeknd dude.
He just released. The Weeknd just released some music, so.
Yeah. I thought it was a good album. Definitely better than 99% of artists out there.
Dude, his production is always the highest quality.
Yeah, period. As a classic Weeknd fan, it wasn't I guess what I was hoping for. Wanted to go more of House of Balloons vibes. But
okay. Yeah.
Maybe some Wanderlust, but they didn't have a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I can't complain because I'm still rocking.
New The Weeknd, so.
Yeah.
Check that out. Dude, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Part 2 is a pleasure.
It's always a blast. And I have this quote. It was I saw it in a podcast recently. Something about how when you're so engaged in something, obviously, time flies. And it was a more intricate quote and cool, but it's true, man. Time just goes by when you're so engaged in something like this, like legit conversation.
Time be flying with my Woody talks, that's for sure.
Yeah, time be flying with my Teddy talks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I like the setup. Maybe we'll run it back here again sometime at the beautiful crib.
Gotta do it again.
Shout out Mr. and Mrs. Greenlee.
Yeah, shout out Julie and Josh. Thank you for hosting tonight.
Yeah.
We got the cribs to ourselves, but we're being responsible.
Being responsible. All right, this is Stoic Sapling Podcast, episode 11. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.